Janice Dickinson sat down for an interview with CNN about Bill Cosby allegedly raping her, and this gets tense and it gets emotional. Let's watch.
What has held you back all these years from telling this story in detail until now?
I remember being humiliated, disgusted. I had revulsion towards Cosby, and Cosby was a very powerful man and probably still is. You know, I trusted this man and I stuffed it. I compartmentalized it because I was embarrassed.
And at what point did you find yourself alone with Mr. Cosby? You trusted him, but then things went in a different direction, in your view.
Stu Gardner left the dinner table. I was alone with him, and I had menstrual cramps. I had stomach cramps. He said, "Oh, I've got something for that," and he gave me a pill. And
did you ask what it was?
I don't remember that. I don't remember. But if he's giving me a pill, I trust the guy. I trusted Bill Cosby, so he gave me...
Why did you feel like you trusted him?
Because of his demeanor and the promise of a career. And, you know, I trusted him, and I wanted a television career. I always had I had a successful career. For commercials, I wanted to take it to the next level.
And at the same time, though, you were telling me you're in rehab. You were still very fragile. He offered you wine. That was a no-no in your view, but now he offers you a pill, and you still trust him?
It was red wine, it was a pill, and then when I started to black out, I had a Polaroid camera on me. That's when I took several photographs with a Polaroid, when I had one of the first Polaroid cameras. And, you know, I just remembered shooting these pictures and having them on me in my room the next morning when I woke up. The last thing I remember, I had blacked out, and Cosby mounting me like the monster that he was. And I was thinking, what the heck? And I just remember passing out, but I remember more specifically waking up and that there was a lot of pain in downstairs. There was semen all over me, and that my pajamas bottoms were off and the top was open. And I, at that point, fight or flight, I just packed up and I got the hell out of there.
What do you want from Bill Cosby right now? What do you need to hear from him? What does he need to do?
I would like Cosby to come out and at least acknowledge that he is a pig, that he is a monster, and he has raped me.
Thank you, Janice Dickinson.
Thank you,
Pleasure.
Ms. Frederick.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, CNN.
All right. Thank you. I know it's tough.
I'm sorry.
There's no need to apologize.
I don't know how to process
It's very-
this. I do not know how to process these emotions. You know, I don't. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to go to church. I do not know. This has affected me in my house. It's affecting me. I don't know. It's probably affected these women.
Yeah, that was hard to watch at parts, for sure. Now, Cosby's lawyers responded and basically said, well, we don't believe her because she contradicted her story. It wasn't in her book about her life. So, which is true? What you said in the book or what you're saying here? You contradicted yourself, you have no credibility, you're lying. That's basically what the lawyers said. Now, there's actually a good explanation as to why this is not in her book. Her ghostwriter has come out and said that she told him that story when he was ghostwriting the book. And he basically said to her, look, we're not going to be able to use that in the book because our publisher or whoever's in charge is not going to allow it in there because then they'd have to get a whole bunch of lawyers and then there'd be this big lawsuit. And they don't want to go down that road. They don't want to say anything that could eventually lead to a lawsuit and would hurt them financially. So she was open about it and she was going to put it in the book, but she was basically told, not a good idea, don't do it. Also, I think it was back in 2006, she was on Howard Stern's show, and she said about Bill Cosby, she made it quick because, again, she was fearing a lawsuit or something like that. But she said, look, all I have to say about Bill Cosby is he's a bad guy. He's a very bad guy, and I can't say much more, but he's a bad guy. That's basically what she said. So I don't know, man. It's getting ugly, and a lot of people have made the point recently that, what is it now? Upwards of 19 women have accused him of rape. Not only that, their stories are all very, very similar. Their stories are all, we were hanging out, having fun, he slipped me a pill or he gave me a drink and the pill was in the drink or whatever, and then next thing I know, I'm passing out and he's mounting me. Now, of course, naturally, as is the caveat in every story that involves criminal justice, you always say it's alleged, and it doesn't look like this is going to get in a court of law because the statute of limitations is so old, and now all these women are coming out much later, much after the fact in most of the cases. So who knows if it'll ever go to court and if there will ever be the proceedings where we can really determine, legally speaking, if he's guilty or innocent. But like I said last time we discussed this, man, his reputation is donezo, gone, done. And personally speaking, so my opinion based on everything that I've seen, I believe, I don't think, you have to understand there's no financial incentive for these women to come out now. They're not getting anything out of it. So why would they just do it for fun? Like, hey, let's bring down Dr. Huxtable on a Thursday? No, I think it really happened. I think something's going on. I think he has this thing going on the same way that you have the Republican congressmen who are anti-gay marriage and then they're caught getting blown in a New Jersey Turnpike bathroom by a dude. So it's the same thing going on. It's this cognitive dissonance where he'll pick up the phone and, like, one time he called Eddie Murphy and said, "You need to stop using them curse words in your stand-up." And Eddie Murphy's like, what? And he would do this to all up-and-coming black comedians. He'd be like, keep the material clean. You have to represent the black community in a good way. And then meanwhile, what's he doing? Behind the scenes, he's being this horrible guy doing these horrible things. So the only thing I want to add here, the last thing I want to add here is there's one part in there where she says, well, I had menstrual cramps, and the Cosby said, oh, I have a pill for that. Come on, Janice. That's the one part of your story where, come on, let's be honest. What was likely happening then? It was likely that everybody was partying and people were doing drugs, and then Cosby offered, oh, you want to get high, Janice? And gave her the pill, and she's like, yeah, fuck yeah. And then that's how she ingested it, or something like that. Look, I am speculating. There's no doubt about it. But do I believe it that she was like, I have menstrual cramps, and Cosby was like, well, I have anti-menstrual pills here? No, that part of the story is fishy. I'm sure it unfolded slightly differently than that. But every other part of the story, I tend to believe it because it seems to fall in line with everything else that all the other people are saying about Cosby. So it's a scary story. It's a gross story. There you have it. Make with it whatever you'd like.